We're joined by someone whose career is the definition of depth and direction. Whether it's cross-border taxation, CFO advisory, or market entry strategy, Mr. Sachin Ranbhise has seen it all, shaped it all, and delivered where it counts.
See, from the time I qualified, I always wanted to come into practice. I wanted to start the entrepreneurial journey.
So, listening to how you've grown SRA into a trusted name for global clients, especially those entering the Indian market,
Right.
makes me wonder. You have seen it all up close.
I think the one and the most important which I would ask any founder or any startup founder would be that building your financial and compliance foundation is as serious as building your own product.
Hi everyone, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host Charu Mehra, and today we're joined by someone whose career is the definition of depth and direction. With over 24 years of experience, he's the go-to expert for multinational corporations navigating India's complex financial and regulatory terrain. Whether it's cross-border taxation, CFO advisory, or market entry strategy, Mr. Sachin Ranbhise has seen it all, shaped it all, and delivered where it counts.
Thank you so much, Charu. I truly value the opportunity to contribute to this discussion.
Great. So we're so glad to have you here, Mr. Sachin. And you built such a powerhouse firm from the ground up and helped global giants find their footing in India's evolving ecosystem.
Right. This journey has been both fulfilling and motivating for me. With each new day, there was challenges refining my capabilities, strategic thinking, as well as adaptability.
That's so wonderful to hear, sir, and that's exactly why this episode matters. So let's get started. So, Mr. Sachin, before we get into the technical stuff, let's take a moment to rewind. We'd love to hear your career journey in your own words. What were those early steps like, and how did that path unfold into the kind of work that you're doing today?
So, Charu, this moment takes me back when I was in the eighth grade. I was vacationing in Nagpur, and I remember meeting one of my uncles who was a very renowned chartered accountant back in Nagpur. And I was totally captivated by his lifestyle, the financial success which he had, but more importantly, by the admiration and the respect that he commanded from his colleagues, the clients, as well as the society at large.
Right.
So that day, that seed was planted in me, but I thought that this was my path which I wanted to follow. And back in 1998, many people warned me that CA was one of the toughest courses with a pass rate of probably not exceeding 2%.
Right.
But then I had two core beliefs. One was hard work and perseverance. And I stayed true to them, and they never let me down.
Wow, that's so wonderful, sir. And it's often those small moments we go through as a child that actually shapes our thinking and shapes our future. And it's mostly it's the unpredictable ones and that end up shaping such a defined and powerful career. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Mr. Sachin. So Mr. Sachin, as you were sharing your journey just now, I couldn't help but think building something from scratch, especially in the world of finance and global compliance, must have come with its fair share of moments that really tested your conviction, right? So, yeah, I mean, if we go back to the early SRA days, what were the moments that truly challenged you as a leader, and how did you hold your ground through them?
See, from the time I qualified, I always wanted to come into practice. I wanted to start the entrepreneurial journey, though I never had that kind of a background where my dad was an army officer.
Right,
I never had anybody in the business, so it was slightly a bit challenging for me.
right.
But yes, in 2008, I started my entrepreneurial journey where I joined as a partner in one of the local CA firms. I
Mhm.
quickly realized that to truly bring my vision to life, I needed to have something on my own and to build something on my own. And that was where SRO was born. It started as a proprietorship with a clear purpose and direction. Then the early days were very encouraging with a lot of good opportunities. We had a good, dedicated, and a small team. But soon,
Right.
as many, face the same challenge, which I also face the same challenge, that one person cannot do it all.
Absolutely.
So that is where then we started, getting into a partnership. But again, with that also becomes with a bigger challenge that finding somebody, to give your brand to your values to someone is a very big decision.
Oh my God, absolutely understand that.
So that was something which was very difficult. We did a lot of hunting. We tried to get the right kind of people, who share the same vision, and values. But it was a bit tough on this side. But yes, then we also thought of, growing leaders within our own organization. And where I have been adding training all of my articles as well, and I was looking them as our future partners.
Right.
How where the firm has grown, and I truly believe that they have the potential to lead it forward. Today, like I started, it's not the firm, but it's a growing ecosystem for the future leaders. It's a
Right.
place where the people, where the value meets my vision, and where every team member is empowered to shape his own career.
Absolutely. Wow. And I can totally relate to it. As small thing as cooking food at home, I
Right.
sometimes feel that it's better that I do it. And I can
Absolutely.
absolutely understand your apprehension of choosing someone who can follow the values and the idea that you have. But you were lucky enough and you were skilled enough to identify such people, and that really says a lot, Mr. Sachin. And it's those quiet defining moments, the one that don't show up in headlines, that reveal the kind of leader you are today. So congratulations for making that name for yourself, sir. If I may ask, does SRA stands for something?
Yeah, it's Sachin Ranbhise and Associates.
Oh, associates. Great, great.
So associates is a bigger word for me rather than my name is Sachin Ranbhise is one name, but then it's a team which is more bigger than the individual.
Individual.
That's what
That
I
is
always
such a
value.
wonderful thought, sir. That is such a wonderful thought.
So that's why we created this logo with an A with more. But if you see at the background,
Yes, I was just
there is a king and a queen and a queen as well. So I
right.
don't know who's going to take it forward, but yeah, I'm welcome to both of them.
Wow, that is such a wonderful thought. And I was just looking at the logo, and I
Right.
really did, see that the logo is the A is different from the SR. So I was
Yes.
just wondering what that is. But that is such a wonderful thought. Great. Okay. So listening to how you've grown SRA into a trusted name for global clients, especially those entering the Indian market,
Right.
makes me wonder. You have seen it all up close.
Right.
So, what's that one blind spot you think most foreign companies walk in with when they are trying to set up in India? And in your experience, how can they navigate that better?
All right. So from my perspective, from a chartered accountant's perspective, one of the biggest blind spot is how the foreign companies underestimate the Indian tax regulatory depth.
Okay.
Now, to look at the compliance environment is here is very much layered. Like we have a direct tax from direct tax to indirect tax, and to company law to FEMA and labor laws. I mean, just name it all. There is a law for everything, probably.
Right.
But if I look
Right.
at those countries, and on those countries, the laws are very simple. Like in US, the laws are very simple. Europeans, the laws are very simple. It's not much complicated. And that is where they feel that the same thing is available in India as well. They feel that the
Right.
Indian laws are not very complex, which is something which they are missing on here.
Right.
Many companies then try to replicate those global structures with their local, trying to localize it, and which leads to complication from time to time.
Right.
And so my advice personally is to engage with a good professional who understands the entire complexities of all the regulation, because typically speaking, a transaction really does not involve one particular law, and a transaction involves multiple laws and attracts multiple laws. So they
Right.
have to really, understand when they're executing any transaction, what are the implications from various laws that they come into.
Exactly. Right. Right.
Like I know one of my European companies, they were setting up. I mean, like I'm just a very simple example of a social security thing. So
Right.
they had reputed some of the expats in India. without the proper, appointment letter, without proper this thing. So it not only attracted the PF laws, but it also attracted the service tax issues also.
Right.
They were
Right.
not paying service tax on those manpower hirings out here.
Mhm.
A lot of these complexities which is there, which they have to understand that Indian laws are different, slightly more complex,
Right.
more regulated, and especially with digitization. Now, practically everything is flowing from one department to the another department. So it's very difficult to hide anything. To be honest,
Right.
so the
Right.
best is to be pretty to upfrontly disclose everything.
Right.
What my
Wow.
suggestion would be.
Wow, that is really an eye opener, Mr. Sachin. And I feel that it's insights like these born from real world experience that help bridge the gap between intention and execution for companies entering into India. So thank you for sharing that with us. So, Mr. Sachin, while we're talking about navigating complexity, there is one space where that pressure feels even more intense: the startups. India's startup ecosystem is growing at a breakneck speed, but the backend often buckles under that growth. So, from where you sit, what's that one financial or compliance advice you'd give to the founders scaling fast before it's too late?
Yeah, I think the one and the most important which I would ask any founder or any startup founder would be that building your financial and compliance foundation is as serious as building your own product. So, in a rush to grow, raise capital, acquire, clients, many startup actually really, they put the finance and the compliance at the backdrop.
Right. Mhm.
They really don't, and they don't look at the strategic pillar. But from a chartered accountant's point, I can really tell you, if you ignore this, it's going to cost very heavily going ahead. Now, I'll give you a very example, like a pretty an example of a client who was a startup and who got into an AI-driven one, and who were wanting to get funding. So they did everything right. The product is absolutely spot on, and it has a lot of market potential. No doubts on that.
Right.
But they were completely missing onto the compliance and the statutory part.
Right.
And that's where they lost a lot of good deals. They couldn't go through the due diligence. The due
Mhm.
diligence, they failed in the due diligence. They did not get the funding, and that was from there came down crumbling. So my
Right.
advice here is, it's better to, of course, building your uh,
Product.
product is very important. Agreed. But at the same time, building the compliance and taking it serious, taking it has to be taken very seriously.
Right. Right.
Because
And
yeah,
no, please go ahead.
we're trying to save money right now, or rather, in a rush to grow your business. We're not looking at what is going to come in the future.
Absolutely. And I was just giving an example of that. I was associated with a startup for a very short period of time. I was working for them contractually. I will not name it definitely.
Right.
But yes, I mean, they faced a similar challenge wherein they had not taken care of the financial setup properly. So they ended up paying a lot of fines for there is something called the ESIC and the PF
Yes, yes,
thing. Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Yes.
a lot of penalties were imposed on them because
Right.
some things they did not do right. So I can totally relate to what you are saying there, because I saw what was happening there. So
True.
yeah, I mean that is so important to build your financial and compliance part along with your product. And you know in a rush to scale, I've seen that these things often slip through cracks. And
Right.
it's voices like yours that help bring startups back to solid ground. So thank you for sharing that wisdom with us, Mr. Sachin.
Thank
So, looking at your journey you've had so far, Mr. Sachin, it's clear that you've already made a meaningful impact across industries and continents. But if we look into the future for a moment, what's next for you? Are there any aspirations you're still chasing? Perhaps stepping into more strategic or boardroom level roles, where your decisions could shape things at a broader level.
So I'm a person who never stops learning. So for me, like I've recently qualified as a US CPA as well.
Wow.
So, and this is a significant milestone in my professional journey because this not only enhances my global competence, but also
Right.
aligns my vision to expand internationally. So we are only in which we are dealing with a lot of US clients, getting a lot of US work, but then tying up with some US firms would really help us in a big way. So
Right.
this milestone was a very significant milestone in my particular growth journey.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, yes, I'm equally energized to contribute as an independent director to the boardrooms because I have seen it all. I've been on the other side of the thing as an auditor.
Right.
I have done the auditing. I have done everything, so I know understand each and every in and outs of how things work. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm going to contribute as a board in the boardroom is something which is going to be exciting and which I'm looking forward for it.
Absolutely. And it looks kind of like a obvious next step for you. And
Absolutely, absolutely.
and I'm sure the boardroom will definitely benefit from the kind of vision that you have, because it's rare to see someone with such deep experience still carry such a strong sense of purpose. And I wish you all the best for that, Mr. Sachin.
Thank you.
So, since we're talking about future thinking, it's impossible to ignore how ESG is reshaping the boardroom conversations everywhere. So, from your lens as a CFO advisor, how do you see ESG influencing financial strategy today, and what role should finance leaders really be playing in driving that shift?
Yeah, because it's quite buzzing right now. I mean, ESG is buzzing in terms of, from a CFO's, as a CFO advisor, I see ESG not as a peripheral trend, but as a fundamental force for shaping your financial strategy as well as value creation.
Absolutely.
And the influence of ESG is far more beyond just public relations.
Right.
And how it really impacts the financial strategy is helps you to minimize your risk and resilience.
Right.
It also helps you to access to capital and cost of funding also. So a lot of companies with a strong ESG rating can access a really wider pool of capital and
Right.
can really have loans which is more beneficial at their own terms. For example, we have the green linked bonds, we have the sustainability linked loans. So this will
Mhm.
really help them. Also,
Right.
ESG as well as helps them to increase the valuation of the company as well as the long-term value creation. Helps to create a long-term value for the
Absolutely.
company as well.
Right.
So which is something which is more important. And at the same time, I would say that it helps you to improve your operational efficiency as well as helps you to bring innovation into your operations. So which
Right.
is very very important from for any business
Right.
I would say.
Right.
So I mean today I would say CFOs are not only they're not only as a advisors, but they're basically I mean I would say basically they're more uh, value chief officer instead of because they're not only responsible for financial numbers, but they're
Right.
basically ensuring that the companies are placed have a long-term success in the world.
Success.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
where it comes to environmental, where it comes to social or any governance.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And it's just like you said in the previous question, where there was an advice for the startups who are scaling, that,
Right.
instead of thinking about the present, I would say the financial implications and saving some money now, you should think about the long term. So ESG has a similar impact,
Very true.
in the long run, having a strong ESG, culture in your company, having it as a backbone in your company will definitely help the companies in the longer run. And it often feels like a buzzword, but hearing how you tie it into the real financial decision making
Right.
makes it feel grounded and honestly necessary.
True. Very true. That's true.
So before we wrap up, I'd
Yeah.
love to hear about your recent experience with Directors Institute. What made you decide to join, and how has the journey been so far for you?
Okay. So as I already said in my past, one of the past questions, that I had been on the other side auditing the books on the facing the board members, and I wanted to really and, come and contribute to the boardroom.
Right.
So of course, Directors Institute has helped me a lot in doing so. The kind of material that they have, the kind of lectures that I've attended, it's really amazing. And I've come to realize that governance is not just about overseeing numbers; it's about providing actually strategic insight, guiding long-term sustainability and
Right.
balancing risk with opportunity, especially in today's rapidly changing environment. And this experience has been really invaluable for me. And honestly, I mean, like in the ESG module that they have, the digital director program which they have, it's something which, as a board member, I'm really more geared up for this role.
Right, right. Wow. That is a wonderful feedback, sir. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And you talked about being one person who is continuously learning. So it's always meaningful when experienced leaders like yourself find value in continued learning. It really reflects on your commitment to staying sharp and relevant at every stage. So I wish you all the best once again on your future endeavors and hope you achieve them successfully the way you've achieved your goals so far.
Thank you.
So, with that, we've come to an end of our conversation. Mr. Sachin, this has been such an insightful discussion today. From decoding regulatory complexities to the human side of leadership, you've given us a lot to reflect on. Thank you for sharing your journey with such honesty and clarity.
I really appreciate this opportunity to be part of this conversation, and it's been a pleasure to engage with such a thoughtful group. And of course, I mean, I hope that the insight what I've given will be really have some impact on the audience.
The pleasure was all ours, sir. Thank you so much for being here with us today. To our audience tuning in, thank you for joining us on FaceTime with Leaders by Directors Institute. Keep following for more conversations that bring you closer to the minds shaping the future of leadership. Until next time, stay curious and keep leading with purpose. Thank you.